Hi, I'm Leslie McNulty, and welcome to Divinely Inspired Ideas for Life. Today, in Life and Spirituality, we are discussing the fascinating topic of questions for the Creator of the universe. You don't want to miss the Idea Zone and our synopsis of the Live Your Dream series. If you've missed any segments, you can catch up today. And finally, on the Miracle Echo, my husband, Dr. Kevin McNulty, and I have a very special interview with Drs. Chandra and Leela Bose, who are changing lives across India. So, let's get started. What if you had God's complete attention for 5 minutes and could ask any question you want? Today I want us to look at a recent survey done by USA Today entitled Questions for God. In the article, the following question was posed to adults. If you could get in contact with God directly, ask a question, and get an immediate reply, what would you ask? 34% wanted to know, what is my purpose here? 19% would ask, will I have life after death? Have you ever thought about life after death? 16% want to know, why do bad things happen? And 12% had no idea what they would even ask. What burning question might you have for God? In my life as a spiritual leader and a global ministerial ambassador, I have witnessed suffering firsthand. I have seen young people searching for a living God, looking for the meaning of life and for purpose and opportunity. I have seen abandoned mothers looking for self-worth and hope. I've observed fathers full of anger and anxiety as their dreams were crushed before their eyes. And I've seen the pain of a child with no food and no seeming hope of a better tomorrow. These faces remind me of questions I've heard from around the globe. I remember in Mongolia, a young person asked, who is the Lord of the great big blue sky? Who is this ancient one? Is there purpose? Is life all about suffering? An Eastern philosopher said, how can we know the great cosmic universal one? He escapes me. It is unthinkable and unapproachable, the absolute impersonality. Scientists say, God? What need is there for God when we have science? And that certainly explains all. Yet, with all of our medical understanding, scientists still face increasing, incurable ailments of the mind, soul, and body, and the fact that they do not have all the answers. So, who is God? And where does He fit into your world? In reality, He is only one step, one decision away. I'd like to share a story with you about a man from the Congo who was only one step away from a very tragic decision in his life. But in just a matter of moments, his world was changed instantly. How? He heard words just like you're hearing today. Simple, good news opened the door to a new world. Do you need doors opened in your life? Today is your day. In one of our meetings in the Congo, a young father was distraught and very upset about how life had treated him. I don't know what situation you're facing. Maybe you find yourself like this young father. He had just purchased poison at a local pharmacy and was on his way home to take his and his family's lives that night. As he walked, he heard words in the distance over loudspeakers and decided to see what was happening. As he listened, he heard a new idea. The words began to penetrate his heart, and he had an overwhelming sense of God's love and presence. Do you need God's presence? We have seen Him touch the masses around the world. He, or Jesus, God, is here for you right now. How do I know this story? This story is just one of hundreds I've heard in nations around the globe. This young father later made his way to the platform to tell the audience what had happened as he stood before 100,000 people weeping, telling them the evil he had planned and how God had freed him and forgiven him. Suddenly, the crowd began to part as a woman with several children made her way to the platform, crying and shouting, "Honey, honey, we are here too." The couple embraced on the platform, forgave each other, and committed their lives to the Lord. In an instant, the question of who God is was answered. God is love. He is forgiveness, peace, and restoration. Wherever you are, just stop right now and tune your thoughts to God. He loves you. He believes in you. And today, He offers you forgiveness.
There's more to come. Stay with us as Dr. Leslie returns with a special studio guest.
Just the same as we have trained nationals around the globe, we will train nationals in the United States of America, that every believer, that every individual can carry the love of Christ to this nation who has sent myself and my husband to 65 nations of the earth. Why don't you come along and get on this Christian adventure with us?
And we have been working for 2 years for the development of this United States project, a major project, 50 states, 50 teams, 50 tents.
Now is the hour. Let's run together. We can do it. This week on our Miracle Echo segment, I am joined by my husband, Dr. Kevin McNulty. Dr. Kevin, welcome.
It's great to be here.
Glad to have you. And we're also joined again by our very special guests, Drs. Chandra and Leela Bose. Thank you for joining us here.
Thanks so much. We're excited.
Drs. Chandra and Leela Bose and Dr. Kevin and myself all share a very common but a very special history together. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time this week, Dr. Leela and Dr. Chandra Bose are pastors and educators, religious leaders, and they are founders of churches and founders of schools, colleges, and many social programs. I want to encourage you to go to our website and watch our previous interviews where you'll learn much about their work in the nation of India. We're talking about Dr. T.L. Osborne and his impact on our lives as a mentor. But for those of you who are watching today, it's really important to understand that this gentleman who began in India and actually was considered himself to have failed initially in India, finished in India, and at that place, he was speaking to one of the largest organizations in the world. But to understand Dr. Osborne's ministry, his legacy, he's credited with starting over 150,000 churches. His books are printed in over 100 nations. He's recorded an anthology of the history of his ministry that captures the transition of missions from a colonial mentality to the release of the national missionary. And so this is quite an astounding legacy that our lives here at this table have been impacted by.
Yes.
And recently, I was just with Dr. Chandra and Leela in India, in the city of Guntur, and we were doing a citywide conference for the leaders there. And I chose to speak on the subject of the secrets that made Dr. T.L. Osborne a success. And boy, were they excited. They were just tuned in, glued to each idea, each principle, each dynamic that was coming forth. And I'd always say, listen, we can stop here. And they're shouting, no, keep going, keep going. And I tell you, their eyes were glued for hours and hours during that conference. So there is a real connection with him.
You're right, yes.
And in this connection, when you're talking about leaders, Kevin, you brought up an interesting statistic that India is one of the BRIC nations.
Yes.
You are one of the up and coming nations in the earth.
Yes.
And in one of our seminars, I remember looking at the young people, and I remember thinking, okay, but what will India be known for? What will its legacy be? Will it be call centers? Will it be the fact that every American can call and speak to someone in India about their financial situation? Or will it be their wonderful medical? Or does India have another message for the earth? And I remember I looked at the young people and thought, you can take the good news to the nations.
To the nations.
So Dr. Bose, tell us what Bethel Seminary is doing, Bethel Bible College is doing.
We started the Bethel Bible College in 2002 because all of you know India has a population of 1.2 billion people. So we have a burden to reach 1.2 billion people in India. The Bible tells us the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. India needs maybe millions and millions of laborers to take the gospel to 1.2 billion people. You may have to start hundreds and thousands of Bible colleges in India so that the indigenous leadership may be equipped with the gospel or theological education founded on scriptural foundations and truth and integrity. So these people could go into their own communities, own states, people of their own language, and preach the gospel. We believe in taking the gospel to the utmost regions of the country. We don't want any community left out without the gospel being preached. Otherwise, we will be accountable for the souls if they are lost. So we are very glad to share with you. This is God anointed faith venture. Because we don't have churches supporting us, we don't have any foundation supporting us, we don't have any trust supporting us. We just started.
Started by faith.
Yeah.
And as you can see, this is a message that comes from the heart. And that's why we're here today. We're here because the Miracle Echo is enacting change, and it's talking about those who are helping others.
Stay right where you are. Dr. Leslie is coming back with our second Life and Spirituality segment. How do you unlock the dream that's in your heart? Do you have an idea but you don't know where to begin? Dr. McNulty's free workbook will help you eliminate the mental clutter and launch your dream. Request your free copy of the Live Your Dream workbook at www.lesliemcnulty.com now.
Have you ever considered who designed the universe? Have you ever pondered that, like God, you were made for good with an ability to create? I named this program Divinely Inspired Ideas for Life because you and I are created to be hooked up to the greatest factory of ideas that ever existed. We were created in the image of the one who has a supernatural reservoir of inspired possibilities. Like God, the creator of the universe, we have a voice, words, ideas, and an ability to dream and communicate. We were fashioned for fellowship with the creator of the universe, and we were gifted to be creators ourselves. In fact, the creator of the universe so desired to get hooked up with you and me that he created a beautiful garden, and he placed people just like you and me in the very center. David the king said, I look at the night sky and see the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you've set in place. And what are mortals that you should think of us, mere humans that you should care for us? You put us in charge of everything you made and gave us authority over all things. Did you know that God trusts you and that you were created for a purpose and fashioned for dignity? I remember as a teenager hearing these words from my mother. I never thought my daughter would lie to me like this. I cannot trust you. I remember of all the punishment I had received for the wrong I had previously done, nothing compared to the pain of hearing the words, I do not trust you. Perhaps you feel like you cannot be trusted or you cannot trust because you've been hurt too deeply. Today, I want you to know that you can trust God. He will trust you. In the beginning, God created Adam and Eve, a story that many of us are familiar with, but I wonder if we have considered the real consequences of their actions. Adam and Eve enjoyed wonderful fellowship with God, yet God required one thing of Adam and Eve, that they should trust His Word. God has granted us access to a relationship far greater than a master and a slave. He set all things before us so that we might enjoy the very best that life has to give. We are not mere servants of God, but through God's Son, Jesus Christ, we become children of God. Jesus called God Father. Have you ever called God Father? Perhaps you have called Him Creator, or you identify Him with the cosmic universe. But I want you to know today, you can call Him Father. Trust begins with a simple decision to get to know God through His words. How can you know all the functions of your TV or your cell phone if you don't spend some time in the search menus or with the instruction booklet? God only requires one thing for trust. He tells us, get to know me and my words, and I will get to know you. Understanding that God believes in you so much that He put you in charge of your life, your family, your world, is to be aware of an awesome responsibility. Certainly, God did not intend for you to carry out this responsibility all alone. God is the architect, and He created the master plan. And we have something more than the relationship between a puppet and a puppeteer. We have the power to choose a relationship of love, trust, respect, communication, and understanding. Today, I have a special gift for you called God's Master Plan. In this article, I offer a deeper look at you and how you can trust God and that He trusts you. I want you to think about just how much God trusts you. And say this with me, God, thank you for trusting me. Today, I choose to trust you.
Next up, we will discuss the value of associating with those around us in our Connecting to Others segment.
We want to talk about methods of evangelism in the Bible. You know, as we discuss this, it's very important for us to recognize the following, that the thing that is central to methods of evangelism in the Bible is, one, the message is always the same and it never changes. When we grasp that reality, the message remains the same, but the way in which the method is delivered can change in any numerous ways. When we think about the reality of how I'm even communicating to you today, you get that picture. Because I lived in a nation called Russia for many years, and when I moved over there, there was a prophetic word over all of the missionaries that were there. And yes, I was a missionary. And the prophetic word was simply this: there is coming a mode of technology that is going to simplify your lives and make it able for you to communicate easily across the farthest regions of this land. And they were referring to the mobile telephone, because at that time it was very complicated to communicate in any way. And also the internet. The internet was just beginning to move when we had come over there. But now look, for many of you who are watching me today, we understand the power of this internet in communicating the good news. The message is always the same, but the methods will change. So we can say that the only thing truly sacred is the message, but not the methodology. So when we look at methods of evangelism, we can look at them through the source of the Bible. We understand that evangelistic messages recorded in Acts were all faithful proclamations of the gospel. But I don't want that to be a stumbling block for you, because when I looked up the word proclaim in the dictionary or looked for synonyms, I came up with words like publish, state, demonstrate, illustrate, articulate, announce, state, speak. Do you know that when we communicate the gospel, sometimes we will ask people to pull out their cell phones and call a relative so that we can pray for them and either lead them to Christ or they can receive healing. Why? The cell phone has become that methodology, has become a way to proclaim the gospel. The book of Acts is full of the proclamation of the gospel. I encourage you to read it.
We will be right back with the Idea Zone, where you will discover how to remove your limits and live your dream.
Should any child have to beg for food just to survive? Amidst the massive population of India, you can help feed and educate 12,000 needy children every day. This nourishment and tutoring is a key to a better future for each child and for India. Join our 5 Loaves and 2 Fish project today.
We have come to the end of our Idea Zone series, Live Your Dream. But we've only just begun, because now it's time to live our dream, to implement the steps we've discovered, and to make your dream a reality. Remember, with these 7 steps, you can eliminate that chatter that tells you your dreams are not valid. Together, we have answered soul-searching questions, created a vision statement, counted the cost, and discovered how to find our dream team. So let's make a quick review of our key underlying principles. Step 1, establishing our litmus test, which is necessary to create a foundation on which to begin. Ask yourself 3 important questions for defining your dream. 1, is my dream good for God? Is my dream good for people? Is my dream good for me? In session number 2, leadership expert John Maxwell says dreams come a size too big so that we can grow into them. Remember, ideas are meant to be supersized. When capturing your dream, take off the limits, turn on the creativity meter, and your mind of imagination is a field of possibilities. In session 3, we began putting our dream to the test. My coaches over the years challenged me never to give up, to stretch the extra mile, and to always discover the cost of my dream. The payments required for reaching a dream never stop. The greater price you pay, the greater joy you feel when finally you reach your destination. In session number 4, we learned the importance of instilling vision in others. We asked questions like, is your vision magnetic? Is it attracting interest from others? Is it magnanimous? Are you generous of spirit? Is it majestic? What great results do you anticipate? We asked 6 questions to create a dynamic, motivational, and unmistakable vision statement. In session 5, we refined our vision statement and recognized that vision casting can be done by good communicators. But dream casting can only be done by people who live and breathe their dream. A dream is not perfection in action, but a dream is excellence in execution. Your dream will require rethinking and revisiting resource and timeframes. And is your dream statement clear? Clarity in your vision statement and your plans will allow you to move forward when others are still questioning the value of your dream. If you can see it, you can see it. And remember, we've given you this Live Your Dream booklet so that you can work through these exercises, not once, not twice, But until you've refined it to the place that you're ready to run, keep looking at it and pull it out over time and look at it again and again. In session 6, we discussed the importance of your dream team. You can have a 10 dream and a 2 team, and that is a recipe for chaos, as spoken by John Maxwell, expert in team development. When God gives you a dream, He gives you a partnership to go along with that dream. You can't go it alone. Any dream worth accomplishing requires people in order to accomplish it. Remember, no load is too heavy when you carry it with a friend. And in session 7, we discovered that now we are ready to put our dream in action. And we must allow time to be our friend and not our enemy. Most dreams are not lost to economic circumstance or unbelief, but time without evidence of fulfillment brings discouragement. We looked at the importance of routines also in helping you create lasting personal results. As you embark upon your dream, remember these 4 words: work, worship, rest, and play. Fulfillment of the dream that is in your heart will need a healthy balance of work and worship, rest, and play in order to sustain you on the road to your destination. It's been my privilege to begin this journey with you, and I look forward to growing together as we discover divinely inspired ideas for life on our Idea Zone together. Remember, one thought, one idea can change your life forever.
Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for watching this episode of Divinely Inspired Ideas for Life. Hope you received something and hope you've got some inspiration today. I want to encourage you, go to our website, lesliemcnulty.com. You will find so many helpful resources. You can download them for free. They're available at any time. If by any chance you've missed the previous episodes, no worries, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're uploading all those episodes online every week so you can watch them on your free time. Subscribe to that channel. Click that notification button so you can get some notification when we release the new episodes or new messages. My name is Jacob Makartumian. I'm director for McNulty Ministries, and I had a great privilege to travel with Kevin and Leslie around the world, and I've seen thousands and thousands of lives being changed through the simple messages similar to one that you've just heard. I want to encourage you, share this programming with your friends, with your family, with your neighbors, even they are not Christians. Believe me, those messages are relevant for them as well. We've seen lives being changed around the world by listening to the simple message of the gospel. I want to show you Leslie's most recent book, Exploits. Find this book, order it. It's a digital format. You can order it and we'll ship it to you. This book will definitely give you some inspiration to become an exploit for God. You will go beyond your comfort zone and you will become God's tool to change this world.